So we want to know the cost, and we want to know exactly what Kamala Harris did other than basically send an open invitation to the world to illegally cross our border.
Ah, yes. I remember the day that Kamala Harris invited 10 million immigrants to cross our border. And if you're thinking to yourself, Miranda, you already made this video. You just made this video. You just made a video exactly like this one. That's because Fox News keeps doing the same thing over and over again, beating their head against a wall. This time we have Representative James Comer, who is launching a probe into Kamala Harris's work at the southern border. Because apparently there is some big conspiracy theory now about, well, not now, they've had it, but they're really ramping it up about how Democrats are bringing illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants across the southern border so that they'll vote Democrat and then the Democrats can win the elections. So of course, Fox News had to have him on. So we're wasting people's time in two regards: the probe itself and interviewing him on the news.
But she's really going to claim there was a Senate bill and that the House killed that bill. So what should the GOP response be to the second part of her argument about the Senate border bill?
That bill was introduced 3 years into the Biden-Harris administration. There had already been tens of millions of illegals pour across our country. They did nothing to halt the flow.
First of all, fact check, that's false information. It's not tens of millions. It's not even the first 10 million. Second of all, can we talk about the fact that Republicans killed that bill? Because Trump wanted to run on the issue of the southern border, so we weren't allowed to do anything to fix the crisis at the border, because there is a crisis at the border, and so Republicans sort of nixed that. Because yeah, that's definitely Kamala's fault, that you guys killed the bill, because Trump wanted to run on that issue.
We had meetings with Border Patrol agents. We had sources that came forward in the Border Patrol that said the Biden-Harris administration changed their policy. Instead of making them able to secure the border, they made them the welcoming committee for the illegals that crossed the border. So the Biden-Harris administration did nothing but damage the southern border and extend an open invitation to illegals to pour across that border and bring in with them fentanyl and human trafficking and public disease and crime.
Wait, hang on a second. Can we go back real quick? That graph at the end, those numbers, can we go back to that real quick? Wow, yeah, it definitely says tens of millions of people crossing the border. That's what that number says right there. That one with the 4 in front. But Miranda, why do they keep lying on Fox News? Why do they keep bringing up this border issue as far as it relates to Kamala Harris on Fox News? And it's because for the voters who watch Fox News, you want to get something specifically into someone's head, you bring that point up over and over and over and over again. They start to parrot it, and they take that to the voter box with them.
What about Vice President Harris?
I think she's a dumpster fire.
In what way?
Because, you know, if you look at her policies, you look where she stands, look where she's done. I don't know if she's ever even gone all the way down to the border yet. We have major problems on our border. That's one of her jobs. She is out of touch with any turnaround in normal voter.
You know, Kamala Harris hasn't proven herself on anything. She was given the responsibility for the border. That's a big issue for Texas. There's no excuse for that. Just allowing 10 million people that are illegal into the country. So I don't know. There's just they've kind of painted themselves into a corner with identity politics. You know, picking certain personality traits, sexual preferences, things like that to put people in positions, and we need the most qualified people.
Let's go to immigration. I want to talk about that as an issue. Is that a big issue for you in this election?
Yes, it's one of the top issues for me. Trump had immigration under control when he was president, and Biden completely got rid of it, and now our border is a mess, and we have millions of illegal immigrants that should not be here. People are coming across the border now with Biden shirts on, right? They're being told to come here, try to register to vote, and to vote for Biden. That's completely unacceptable to me.
I think we need to focus on our borders. I mean, it's like a Trojan horse. We have so many illegals in here. It's just a matter of time, before we're a sitting duck.
Sitting ducks for what? It's only a matter of time before what? I'll tell you what they think is happening. It's the Great Replacement Theory. Fox News is famous for pushing that theory too. The invasion and replacement talking points when it comes to any other nationality, any other person from any other country immigrating to the United States has been a talking point used in politics in the United States for over 100 years. In the 1800s, they thought that the Chinese immigrants who were moving to America were moving here in droves to take over the U.S. government. And if you remember correctly, they did not take over the U.S. government. And if you look at political advertisements, Republicans have been using more and more and more white replacement and invasion talking points in their advertisements to their constituents, to their voters. Recently, NPR did a poll and found that the majority of Americans that they polled considered asylum seekers at the southern border as a military invasion.
He's doing these things with racial undertones and saying, like, in a Kamala Harris presidency, all these black immigrants and African immigrants and Haitian immigrants are going to come into your country, and do you want that? And you should be afraid. And so it doesn't appear that scare tactics really work in elections, but it is right out of the Trump playbook. And I would hope that their campaign would behave better. If you want to talk about the issues, great. But using imagery to try and invoke fear is pretty ruthless politics.
So why is it such a major talking point? Why do Republicans use it consistently as a talking point? Because if you create a problem and you sell that problem, you can then sell yourself as the solution. It's the politics of fear.
Because we see a lot of ads that do just exactly what Allison is saying, use scare tactics.
I wish it didn't, but fear works real well, actually, as a motivator.
A house divided cannot stand. If they pit all of the citizens, the different ethnicities, the different sexualities, the different blue versus red, if they pit all of us against each other, we can't stand on our own feet. And we can't point a finger at who's actually to blame for the problems in our lives, which is the top people with all the money and all the power. That Republican voter from the South is not your enemy. That trans person existing in California is not your enemy. That person seeking asylum at the southern border is not your enemy. We're all the same. And we need to realize that we have more in common than we don't. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to check out some of my content that isn't news related, you can check out my personal YouTube channel at Bad Gamer Wyatt. And until then, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.